twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous line o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the and the home of the that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the and the home of the
Before the American Revolution, our founding fathers considered themselves slaves of the empire. And then Thomas Jefferson read John Locke. And he said that our freedom was not given us by the king. It was an unalienable right given us by God. It is irrevocable, non-transferable, and unsellable. Founders understood that, and this is why, at the end of the Declaration of Independence, they put, "We pledge our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor." They said they would die before they'd be slaves. I won't just die before I be a slave. I'll kill before I be one. So all y'all out there to say you have no choice, what the founders showed you. It was Patrick Henry that said, "Give me liberty or give me death." And on that fateful night when George Washington had to cross the Delaware River in the ice and the snow, or the American Revolution would be lost, they said, "General, what are the passwords?" He said, "Victory or death. Either we're successful tonight or we all die." That's the idea of a free man. And I am a free man. So all you out there that believes that someone has to give you your freedom, you're admitting that you're a slave. If you come try to take my freedom away, God has given me the right to defend myself. And I got two things that'll get you off of me. That is Jesus and my 38. Slaves is a choice.
Grace and peace, you guys. Welcome back to Unshakable with April Chapman, where we discuss all things social, cultural, political, and theological from a biblical perspective. Y'all, I'm your host, April Chapman, and happy Monday. We are all coming off of a holiday weekend. Happy belated 250th anniversary of America to you. Hopefully, you've barbecued and had roast pork and brats and steaks. And I mean, we just ate all kinds of high calorie food. But you guys, as Americans, we have so much to be grateful for and so much to celebrate. So you get a pass, but it's Monday now. You got to get back on the wagon, get your 10,000 steps in, leave them carbs alone. And I'm just excited to be here tonight. So I decided to go live, and there's so many things that are happening right now. I do believe our country is at a turning point. Speaking of turning point, the Charlie Kirk trial has begun. The pre-trial uh, festivities. I don't know the proper legal terminology that you call it, but that did start today. And so, while nothing too eventful happened, I do want us to keep our eyes glued to that case, because you guys, that was a major event that has happened within this generation. We lost one of our shining lights, the late Charlie Kirk, who I was just beginning to get to know, was taken from us. I would like to say too soon from the human standpoint. But Charlie, based on his public profession of faith and his affirmation of the gospel and faith in Christ, is with the Lord right now. So we've just got to be settled with that. However, this side of heaven, we do need to deal with the issue of justice and bringing his alleged killer to trial, giving him a trial, and then based on the facts, determining if he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison for the assassination and murder of Charlie Kirk. So that's one thing that's kind of going on. But in the midst of all of that, in the political sphere, there are so many other things going on. We've got all of these Democrat socialists, aka communists, being elected into these local races. And it's just one of those things that our country, as we've just recently celebrated 250 years, we need to decide what the next, Lord willing, 50 years, forget 250 years, what are the next 50 years going to look like? What kind of nation are we going to become? And so, as a result, I decided to do a live stream tonight, and we're going to be talking about one of the Democrat darlings. We're going to talk about Jasmine Crockett herself, because although Jasmine Crockett had a failed Senate run, I am not sure what made this woman decide to run in a statewide race and give up her seat in Congress for Senate. But yay, whatever, you know. She chose to run for Senate and she lost. But Jasmine doesn't appear to be going anywhere anytime soon. Like, she's doing lots of media appearances, and the moment somebody sticks a mic in her face, she will come out and talk all kinds of retarded foolishness. And so I happened to capture a snippet of an interview that she conducted with some independent journalist at the Essence Music Festival. If you know anything about Black culture, Essence Magazine used to be, alongside with Ebony and Jet, it used to be one of the premier publications within Black America. However, as time has progressed, kind of like BET has become all things exploitative and wrong about what's wrong with America, I kind of put Essence up there with that. Typically, the thoughts and opinions and the worldview that Essence as a publication pushes, it's just, to me, it is not the best reflection of what Black America either used to be or where the direction we need to be going. It pushes a lot of feminism and matriarchal squalor. It is not pushing faith and family, but rather it is very progressive. It is very left leaning. It is pushing all of the things that I would say the Democrat Party wants the Black community to be. So I'm not surprised that they wanted to sit down with the Democrat darling herself, Jasmine Crockett, and they were just asking her questions. And in this interview, Jasmine Crockett, she says the quiet part out loud, and we're going to unpack her words tonight. So, but before we begin, I saw somebody in the live chat ask, April, would you ever consider inviting Jasmine Crockett on your platform for an interview? And I'd like to answer that. I do not believe that someone like a Jasmine Crockett would ever grace the platform of a Black conservative like myself, because she's not going to be able to engage with anything that I'm saying in a meaningful way. We are simply worlds apart. And while I will sit down with anyone, I would, we wouldn't even be able to get past basic definitions. Um, but to be fair, to answer your question, if the opportunity ever presented itself, yes, I would sit down with Jasmine Crockett. Now, how that interview is going to go is a different question, right? I think it would make for good TV. It would be quite entertaining. I do not believe she will leave that discussion confident in her position at all. She'll probably leave very angry, and we'll see a little bit of the orangutan energy kind of come out. But we're just oil and water. We're like night and day. It's good, and the light and the darkness. When them two get together, ooh, yeah, you're gonna see some fireworks there. So, with that being said, I don't want to belabor the point too much. I do want to go ahead and get things kind of set up here. And you're going to first shout out to Devori Darkins. This is where I got this clip from. And then I also saw that Breitbart News also shared it. And so let's go ahead and get into this clip, and then we're going to engage with it.
Black people are consistently being ignored, or I feel like that's what I hear. But when we look at the numbers, if there's any group of people that the party should be most loyal to and most vocal about, is Black people, because Black people have historically held this down. Now, we don't have the numbers in this country for sure, but percentage wise, there is only one group of people. When you walk into a room full of Black people, you can almost guarantee that they believe in the democratic ideals. When you walk into a room full of white people, you don't know what you're walking into. Okay. Sure. So I think that we have to come to a consensus about a baseline of, when we're talking about the LGBTQIA community, we all gonna stand with the community as a whole, and maybe even have something specific that's like that one big thing that like nobody can fold on. Same thing with Black folks, same thing with Latinos, same thing with women, same thing with all of the different kind of fractions within our umbrella. We have to say, as a baseline, we will not accept anybody that does not stand for these very basic things. And frankly, for Black folk, it's just honestly acknowledging our humanity.
All righty. Well, I wanted to go ahead and share that clip. I also wanted to. I saw this clip somewhere else that
Black
provided
people are
a
consistent.
Stop. That provided a little bit of commentary, and I have since lost that screen with the commentary. So we're just going to skip past that. That's actually my fault. So let me go ahead and get this queued up here. I needed to move some screens around. Let's minimize this. So if you're just joining us, thank you so much for joining the live stream. Be sure, let's get some housekeeping things out the way. Like this video, share it with your tribe, engage with the live chat, be respectful, take your caps lock off, because it does kind of look like you're yelling, and we just don't want people to feel like you're constantly yelling. So if y'all could do that. I don't really make a big deal out of it, but it's a pet peeve for my moderators. They hate when you type in all caps. So let's just respect the mods' request. Don't type in all caps. I don't really care. I kind of do, but not enough. But they're asking you not to do that. So let's just comply. All right. So the first thing, hopefully you guys were able to hear that clip okay. I hear Layla said that she just said a mouthful of nothingness. Actually, Layla, I'm going to push back. I disagree. Jasmine said a lot. She said a lot, and there is so much to unpack in her words. I would play it again, but maybe it's because I've listened to it more than once that I was able to pick up on the context clues of what she was actually saying here. But she spent a huge amount of time. No. Here it is. Here it is. I found the clip. Oh my gosh. Yes. Let me play it again. No, this is not the right one. Let me go to Breitbart. I think because Breitbart starts the clip off at a different section. So give me one quick second. We are going to find this clip. Let's go here. Hold on. Breitbart News. All right. Where's the rest of the? Oh, that's the wrong Breitbart. Wrong one. Hold on. Y'all be patient with me. It's a live show. I have to find this. Because the reason why this is important. There we go. I had to get their official account. All right. And y'all, I don't know what's going on with my mouse, but it has been annoying. Where is it? Oh, mercy. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. They share. All right. I found it, y'all.
I feel like that's what I hear.
All right.
But when we look at the numbers.
I want to share this screen right here because Jasmine Crockett says that Black people feel that Democrats are ignoring them and are not sufficiently, quote, acknowledging our humanity. Then she goes on to say, if there's any group of people that the party should be most loyal to and most vocal about, it's Black people. When you walk in, this is the part that did it for me, y'all. When you walk into a room full of Black people, you can almost guarantee that they believe in the democratic ideals. I said,
flag on the plate.
I said, well, there it is right there. This is the quiet part that she's saying out loud, and I'm going to unpack it. Then she says, when you walk into a room full of white people, you don't know what you're walking into. I said, okay. I said, I am so glad that she is speaking authentically from her heart and telling us exactly what I've been telling y'all about Democrats. Democrats believe that they are masters looking for slaves and that Black voters are slaves looking for masters. I say it all the time. And the more that we let these Black Democrats talk is when the truth really comes out. Now, what Jasmine Crockett is saying here, and when she's saying that, Democrats are ignoring Black people and are not sufficiently acknowledging our humanity, Jasmine Crockett is asking why Democrats are not acknowledging Black humanity. But if you look at the party platform, and just for the record, I have linked the whole Democratic Party 2024 platform PDF. It is in the description box. I guarantee you it will be quite informative and entertaining if you go page by page. Now it's long. Okay, if you don't have the memory, the gigabyte available on your phone, it's a pretty large file. But the party platform itself, I am arguing that it doesn't even treat Black people like image bearers at all, right? It tends to group us all together as this collective. And it doesn't seem to believe that we need truth, because they will lie to you. It doesn't seem to promote the values of family or virtue, definitely not work, because this is the party of dependence, government dependence, that is. Order such as law and order and freedom, no. You're not going to get that from the Democratic Party platform. So when she makes this statement that Democrats are not acknowledging our humanity, I agree. I agree in the sense, not that we need them to, and we're going to talk about that, but I agree in the sense that Democrats treat Black folks like clients of the state. And they want you to be perpetually dependent on the state, and they treat you as people who need subsidies, because y'all are too Black and too ignorant to think and function in your freedom and do for yourself. So you need the state and its subsidies. If you look in the DNC platform, it is pages and pages of just free stuff and government dependence. They also believe that as a collective, they have to provide racial grievance management. They need that, because if they can keep you perpetually outraged and angry and just focused on the race stuff, that type of person or that type of group is so much easier to control than those who function in their freedom and who don't give a darn what any other ethnic group thinks or believes about them. You too busy out here managing your family, making money, adding value to the marketplace. But no, the Democrat Party platform, they're interested in the sexual revolution politics. They want to make sure that the Black community as a whole is a permanent political dependent group. You're a voting bloc. You are electoral serfs. You are not individuals. See, like the whites here, she acknowledges when you walk into a room full of white people, you don't know what you're gonna get. I said, So you believe that Democrats have to acknowledge our humanity, and I'm arguing that I want Black people to stop outsourcing their humanity to Democrats. You don't need a political party to affirm you and to see you. Isn't that their language? We just want to feel seen. Like, they didn't see us. And I'm sitting here like, only dogs and people of low character want to be pitied like this. But look how the Black politician talks about you like you are an infantile child. My question is, why are you looking to a political party for identity and purpose? That is so shallow. That is so silly. That is so absurd that I'm struggling to just unpack it. Like, there's so much to unpack here. This is why I keep saying the Democrat Party, as a party, its platform in theory and practice is anti-God and anti-Christian, because it is absurd for you to expect a whole people group to look to a party for identity and humanity. I'm like, we don't need you to acknowledge our humanity. If anything, we're more interested in respect. But even if you don't give us that, we don't want you to do anything for us. We actually just want you to get the heck out of our way. I am constantly correcting people who come into my chat. You always talking about the Democrats, but what about the Republicans? What are they doing for Black people? And I'm like, look, you still sound like a slave. You're still begging. What are they doing for you? Listen to your language. Listen to the message here. You should not want any political party to do something for you. You are a free man. You don't need a political party to do something for you. What you want is for them to get the heck out of your way and to maintain the proper position that government is supposed to have in your life. They are not your redeemer. They are not your savior. They don't confer to you rights or identity. Their job is to keep these roads paved, to fiscally handle the taxes that you give to them, keep their paws off of your guns, and leave you the heck alone. Why? Because God has given you agency, and he's given you a mandate and the authority to govern yourself, especially if you are a Christian. A Christian knows nothing of looking to the government to give them anything. We are supposed to be model citizens by living in accordance with God's will. And one of those things is we subject ourselves under authority until they ask you to defy God's written command. So therefore, as a Christian, I can't be a Democrat. Why? She just told you. She said at the basic level, she mentioned all of these intersectionality categories, the LGBT community, and then as a Black person, and then as a Latino, and then as a woman. We're just asking you to give us, to recognize these basic things. And I'm like, no. If I am a Christian, I can't be on board with none of that sexual perversion stuff. I can't be on board. And when she's talking about women, she's talking about protecting the right to murder more babies. And then when she talks about the LGBT, she's talking about you got to support the trans people and their ability to want to compete and to be in women's spaces. Like, at the most fundamental level, all of these groups at some point eventually are going to implode on themselves and clash with one another. My point here, though, we're going to get into the part where she reduces the humanity of Black people. I'm going to tell y'all, Democrats view Black people as electoral serfs. I've used that term time and time again. I'm going to define it tonight. But the point here, when she's talking about when you walk into a room full of Black people, she's confident in this. You can almost guarantee that they believe in the democratic ideals. And I said, okay, well, I wanted to pull the DNC platform so we could see what those ideals are. And then I can guarantee you, if you ask the average Black person, there's a lot of democratic ideals in there that they don't agree with. But definitely the government dependent stuff with all the free stuff. Yeah, we've been trained and catechized to believe that that is the government's job. And I know I'm veering off topic a little bit, but one reason why she feels confident in saying that is because for the past 60 years, ever since the civil rights operation of the 1960s, Black people have been trained to believe that it is the government's job to take care of you. They've turned us into a community of beggars, just whining, crying, marching, protesting. There is no end to the begging. It's like a bottomless pit of give us free. So she was confident in saying that, and yes, I believe her. But when I say Democrats do not see Black people as image bearers, they see Black people as ballot bearers. Blacks to the Democrat Party are electoral serfs. Now, let's go ahead and unpack if you know anything about the Middle Ages and if you studied the feudal system. In the feudal system, a serf, it wasn't exactly like a slave, kind of, sort of, but not really. But a serf was expected to produce value for someone else. And they were given just enough protection, not a lot, but just enough protection or provision to keep him attached to the system. You were perpetually dependent on it. You were not treated as fully free or fully mobile or dependent, and you were absolutely not treated as if you were self-governing. That's what a serf is. So when I put the term electoral and serf together, an electoral serf is what the Democrat Party thinks Black people are. Oh no, you're not an individual citizen with convictions or an image bearer with free agency. You're not free people that are capable of discernment like the whites. Because she said when you walk into a room, you don't know what you're going to get with the whites, but them Blacks, oh yeah, them Blacks are a permanent voting class, and you are expected to show up, shut up, vote blue no matter who, and just be grateful for whatever government crumbs fall off the table. Electoral serfs. Don't tell me that slavery is not a choice. This is why the film I'm working on is so important, because I can prove even today that you're choosing your slavery every time you go in that voting booth. And after hearing The darling of the Democrat Party, or she's, I don't know, maybe she's the outgoing darling. Maybe the new darling is AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. But when you hear her talk like this, she is affirming what I've been telling y'all. You will vote blue no matter who. And if you don't know if whether you are for Biden or the Democrats and Trump, then guess what? They will rip your humanity from you. You ain't black. Their words, not mine. This is why the DNC, they do dumb stuff like making Juneteenth a national holiday. Or they'll pass some stupid legislation like the Crown Act. Do y'all remember that? I covered the Crown Act. There have been a few states that have passed it, but up in Pennsylvania, they passed this act that basically affirms that you can't discriminate black people on the basis of their hair, and that you should be able to work and go to a corporation and show up however you want based on your hair, and they can't discriminate you on the basis of that. Now, I said I find this is interesting because I know white people who, if they chose not to shampoo their hair and just let it all just do what it naturally does, and it be oil build up and it starts smelling and stinking, but this is a reflection of this individual white person's independent liberty, I can guarantee you HR is gonna have a problem. They're gonna be like, listen, Karen, we know that you feeling yourself and you want to express your individual creativity, but ma'am, your hair stinks and you need to comb it. And if you don't, do not come back to work because you can't work here. But no, the blacks got something special, right? You got the Crown Act. So no matter how you want to wear your hair, it is legitimate and you should be recognized, and you need protection from the government as a result. So they reward you with stupid symbolic gestures, not any real policy or legislation that's going to help move the needle forward and move you into prosperity. No, you get symbolic gestures like the Crown Act or that dumb Juneteenth holiday that when nobody outside of Texas thinking about until Joe Biden said so. You get racial flattery and grievance language. But the Democrat Party, no, they never truly recognize your independence. They just give blacks abortion, welfare, bad schools. Now we can add to it the gender confusion, because what? The NAACP, they just came out in support of the trans athletes. The organization that is the National Association for the Advancement of the Coloreds, right, have now come out and said, we support the trans athletes, and we can't believe that the Supreme Court would do this. And I'm like, well, what are we talking about here again? I thought this was be advancing black people, but now y'all are on the side of the gender confused. Speaking of which, not only do they give you gender confusion, they give blacks unsafe cities. Why? You have defund the police policies, where statistically we know when you don't have a strong and authoritative police presence, what are you going to find? You're going to find crime. Now, they will manipulate the numbers and say, no, crime is down in our cities. Well, yeah, if you don't prosecute the crime, of course the crime is going to be down. But how many people were just shot in Chicago over the past 2 weeks? You get unsafe cities. And then they force you to live in these unsafe cities by doing what? Always threatening to take your guns. We need gun control because, it's the guns is the problem. No, wait a minute. How am I supposed to protect myself against Taquayshawn and them if you take my guns from me? And then they have the nerve to ask you, do you feel seen? No, we don't feel seen. In fact, Democrats don't see anybody outside of their identity, intersectionality categories, because they are not interested in liberty. They're not interested in you functioning your freedom. And they don't even believe that your rights come from God, because they don't even acknowledge the God of the Bible. Oh, no, they took him out their party platform years ago. So when Jasmine Crockett here says, well, you know, the Democrats are ignoring them, and she claims that all Black people want is for them to acknowledge our humanity. Do you know where they got that from? Y'all ain't gonna like it. Be mad if you want to. Go cry me a river. Black folks started thinking like this because MLK told them to. MLK is the one who had whole grown Black men walking around on a sidewalk with signs around their neck saying, I am a man. That's not a flex. That's not brave. That is Black men reducing themselves to some savage beast that should be pitied. You don't need a sign around your neck to affirm that you are a man. What has God already said about you? But instead, MLK had you out here thinking that the way to equality was to beg the government for it, as opposed to proclaiming the gospel and what God has already said about Black people. And instead of teaching Black people, listen, I know these white folks down here, they done lost their mind and they're showing partiality against you on the basis of ethnicity. But what do the scriptures teach? Instead of him echoing what the scriptures teach, he thought it made more sense to degrade Black people and to go and beg the government to see them. When before that, we had our own bus companies, our own banks, our own insurance companies. Black people were entrepreneurial, and God was the head of our homes. Our fathers were leading our families, and women were the epitome and expression of Black excellence and class. And right after the civil rights movement, what happened? We turned into a community of beggars. The man out of the house clause was put into the civil rights legislation. And next thing you know, our women are out here kicking the men out. The men, don't nobody want to work no more because now we all want to be government dependent. And now what do we have? 3-4 generations of bastards raising bastards and a whole community of YNs that cannot be controlled. Do not tell me that slavery is not a choice. We willingly signed up for that foolishness. That's what we signed up for. So Jasmine here, she just said the quiet part out loud. We already know the Democrats do not believe that that God is supreme. They believe that the government is God. And so when she says this quiet part out loud, she said, white people, you can walk into a room full of white people and you don't know what you're walking into. What is she saying? Basically, white people have diversity of thought. They're allowed to have a varying degrees of opinions on all manner of subjects. Oh, no, but not you, the Blacks. You walk into a room of Blacks, you can guarantee they're going to believe in what she said was the democratic ideals. She already knows that we've been primed to be a class of people who are monolithic, who think the same, who vote blue no matter who, and you don't even know what's good for you because they tell you what's good for you. I mean, am I wrong in interpreting what she's saying? White people get diversity of thought. Black people, you get assigned seats on the Democratic plantation, and you better not complain. Oh, I told y'all, Democrats are masters looking for slaves, and Democrat voters are slaves looking for masters. Where is the lie? This is not civil rights. This is not civil rights. Now, this is political custody. I told you they own you. Joe Biden told you. You ain't Black if you ain't voting for Democrats. Think about it. There is a reason why. The reason why Democrats love the civil rights movement, they love it so much, is because it was the only movement that effectively ushered the Black community straight into the hands of the Democrat Party. It gave them Democrat control in perpetuity, and President LBJ, he said it. He didn't have a problem saying it out loud. I'm going to have them ninjas vote Democrat for the next 200 years. Well, we're 60 in, and he's proven to be right. The entire community, as a group, votes blue no matter who. Nancy Pelosi said it better than I could. She said, look, we could put, I don't have a glass right now, so just pretend it's a glass. She said, look, we could put a D on a glass of water and them ninjas would vote for it. I told y'all blacks were addicted to a D. Now, when I said that, folks were like, oh my God, you can't believe she said that. They don't hide it. They tell you so much better than they've ever been able to in the past, because now the masks are off and they say it out loud. Democrat Party, they don't want black excellence. What they want is black compliance. Jasmine just told you here, when you walk into a room, you already know. And it's so disrespectful the way she said it, because she's saying, we know that they believe in these democratic ideals. Why? We've primed them to be government dependent. So the more big government programs, free health care, free child care, free this, free that, we know they're going to jump on board for it. All we got to do is dangle reparations in front of them. And we don't ever plan on giving it to them, because if we were serious, we would have did it when Barack Obama was in office. But don't worry about that. They're lying. But they just want black compliance. They offer you these little crumbs. Mind you, I'm of the opinion that you don't want a party to do something for you. What you want are common sense policies that are going to help the economy grow and that are going to maintain law and order. But you want minimal government involved in your everyday life. Democrats don't believe that. They believe they have to tell you how to think, what to think, when to think, who to believe. This is why they fight so hard with censorship. They don't like voices like mine out in the marketplace saying whatever I want to say whenever I want to say it. They want to silence people like me, because see, I'm not one of them good compliant Negroes. Okay, I'm a whole problem for the Democrat Party. A whole problem. They're trying to figure out, who does this black woman think she is, talking freely like this? We got to figure out how to get her back in line. Well, you must not know I am Clinton Charles's child. We don't play them kind of games. Okay? You don't silence my voice. You don't tell me how to think. I say what I want to say, and I say it when I want to say it. But they don't want black people free. No, they want your compliance. I came up with it. They're the 4 F's. They want black people committed to the 4 F's. I'm going to break it down. Here it go. They want black people funded. So they got to give you free stuff. So funded and free both start with the F. I didn't plan on free, but definitely funded. They want you frightened. Yes, you got to be scared of everything and everyone, especially the white supremacy. You know, the big old boogeyman that be chasing you down everywhere, but you can't never put your finger on them. You can't find them. You can't never catch them. But the white supremacy is always there, like the big bag boogeyman, and he just be chasing you. And everywhere you look, he's just there. And you just perpetually frightened. They got to have that. So that's your second F. So funded, frightened, right? Flattered. Let's just do something to make them feel good. Let's give them the Crown Act. You know, that sounds like it's a meaningless piece of legislation. Ain't gonna put no money in their pocket. We give them DEI. Just give them a job, just on the basis of just being black alone. Yes, let's flatter them. Now, in my opinion, it's insulting to give somebody a job and say, well, because you black, we're going to lower the bar for you and just put you in this position. We're just going to make up a whole department called diversity and inclusion and give somebody with a psychology degree, typically a woman, we're going to put her in charge of that. Like, they don't even feel insulted by that. That make them feel special. That's the flattered part. So you got to flatter them. Right? Then you got to keep them faithfully voting Democrat. So you got to keep them faithful. That's the other F. Now, not faithful to God. No. You can't have God in the paradigm of Democrat politics. He's incompatible. He don't fit. Because remember, the government is God to the Democrat. So you have to keep them focused on all the other stuff. Keep their eyes off of God, because if their eyes are focused on God, they would wake up and realize the hustle that the Democrat Party is. But Jasmine Crockett here She wants Democrats to acknowledge Black humanity. And I said, how insulting is that? Because my humanity was acknowledged well before the DNC existed, and my humanity was acknowledged before the Civil Rights Act. It was before the Voting Rights Act. It was before the Democrat Party learned how to say equity with a straight face. My humanity comes from God. And so because of that, I refuse to be reduced to just a ballot. We as Black people are not just a ballot. Now, that's how they view us. And rightfully so, it's our fault that we're viewed as a ballot. We allowed this. So they view us as a ballot, a benefit, a grievance, and a guaranteed vote. That's all that you are. Do not tell me that slavery is not a choice, because you're still choosing it today. The policies and the ideals of the Democrat Party are detrimental to human flourishing. I'll prove it. Abortion up to the 9th month. How you gonna have Black folks flourish and prosper when we're not even being born? I'm sorry, we're beyond the rate of replacement. That means there are not enough of us being born to replace the humans that are alive today. But you want me to do content on Christian nationalism? Do you see how retarded you sound? Pro-wokity woke blackity blacks. The urban apologetics community, y'all are mad because I won't do content on Christian nationalism because it's so threatening. Get your scaredy cat behinds out my live chat. I ain't got time for this. Listen, that is not the threat. The policies and ideals, starting with abortion, we're not even being born. That's detrimental to human flourishing. You can't be a Democrat and then unhitch yourself from the LGBTQ agenda. This is why I said, if you at this point are a Black man and you're still voting Democrat, yes, you are gay. If that hurts you so much, maybe you should think about how you're casting your vote and what you're casting your vote for. Then you ain't got to worry about me calling you gay. That should hurt your feelings. It should push up against your manhood in such a way that you're like, well, wait a minute now. Hold on. Did she just said I was gay? Yes, I did. I said you're gay. Because if you're voting for a party that you already know, Kamala Harris made abortion and the whole trans LGBT rainbow mafia that was on the forefront of her party platform. If you voted for her, that's what you voted for with your gay self. So be offended. You should. You should feel offended and ashamed, but you're not, because you're so focused and you're so grieved and you have all of this racial hatred in your heart that you'd rather vote for the demise of your own people than to wake up and acknowledge and realize that, look, I'm gay if I vote for this mess. You are what you support. How are you unhitching the rainbow stuff, the abortion stuff, the government dependence, the bad schools, the high crime? How are you divorcing any of that from being a Democrat? You can't. I mean, to be a Democrat, you have to support all of that. So when the policies and the ideals of said party are detrimental to human flourishing, what else am I supposed to believe? Oh, I hurt your feelings because I said you was gay? I mean, I none of the men in my life I know are like, well, I mean, I don't like that kind of stuff, but I mean, I think it's okay if somebody else want to do it. Really? Really? So you know the evils and the horrors and the consequences of that lifestyle, but you claim to love God and his word, and you'll cast your vote for a party that's actually pushing this, not just to consenting adults, but it's pushing it on children. It wants to put your young boys in a dress and say, this is what it means to be brave, to put on a dress as a boy. And you mad because I called you gay? Yeah, okay. Your wives need to be looking at you with a side eye. Because if my husband came home like, well, you know what I mean, it's not okay for me, but it's okay for them. Real men in the face of evil are like, absolutely not. They don't give hearty approval to foolishness like that, especially toward children. So, as I wrap this commentary up, this was only a minute and 10 seconds of Jasmine speaking. But I thought it was interesting that she equates the guarantee that when you walk into a room and you see blacks, y'all all think the same. She reduced black people to a bunch of mindless robots that go along just to get along. And my question is, how was she so confident to make such an assertion and walk away with that conclusion unless we didn't lead her to believe that that was true? The only way it's not going to be proven true is if you start making different choices. But as it stands now, I am grateful to God that there are mostly black men have opened up their eyes, and it could be because I keep calling them gay, and they're like, I ain't really like the, you know what I'm saying? Like, I see what she's saying, and when she said that, that made me realize it is kind of gay if I'm voting for the gay stuff. But the women, my concern is that 96, or is it 92% of black women are overwhelmingly liberal and progressive, and they vote for this foolishness. And I am convinced that one of the reasons why we are so lost and our worldview is so skewed is because of the matriarchal squalor. Too many of us, so many of us, even myself included, had it not been for the grace of God and the Lord sending a sober-minded man in my life, I'd probably be one of the 92%. But so many of us are liberal and progressive, and we are voting ourselves into extinction because we don't have experience with any sort of male headship. The feminism is so strong within the black community that so many of us believe that it is right and normal to have a man nowhere in sight, to just be out here listening to one another, following one another into a pit. But let Jasmine tell it. This nation owes black women a debt. I'm like, okay, so let's go with that reasoning. This nation owes black women a debt. And what do we have to show for it? We have a generation of YNs. Where are all of the scholars that are we're just outperforming our peers in droves? Where are those young adults at? You know, the children that all these black women who owe, where America owes them a debt. Where are those outcomes? I can show you the outcomes are trash. This is what she wants us to celebrate. See, in her own little microcosm, in her little world of delusion where she has no husband and no children, she thinks that that is a reflection of someone who's winning, right? Jasmine thinks that she's winning. She has no ability to show empathy toward the angel moms who've lost their children, to the illegal aliens who committed crimes and deleted so many Americans. She can't even show empathy and compassion because she has no connection to it. She don't have a man and she doesn't have any children. But she thinks that her and women like her are who America owe a debt to. I said, well, you know, if anything, we can point to women like her as the reason why our community is so jacked up. I'm just one that's brave enough to say it, because I know what it's like to live in a community where the vast majority of the children have no fathers. They have fathers but don't know who they are, and they're not in the home. I grew up under matriarchal squalor where you either end up in jail, or you end up strung out on drugs, or you end up just devoting yourself to a life of crime. Those are the outcomes of all of these strong, powerful women that she's referring to. She's not referring to the women who are training their children in righteousness, who are teaching their young children to submit themselves to authority, and we obey the law and go to school. You work as unto the Lord with your hands, providing value and being productive in the world. She ain't talking about those women. Why? No, because those women aren't Democrat. Those women are over on the conservative side. And they may not necessarily be a Republican, but they are overwhelmingly Christian and they hold to conservative values. So you want us to roll out the red carpet for all of these amazing, powerful women that you claim built this country, but I need you to point to what industry that all of these women build. What are they building? Because I can show you the trash outcomes, but what are they building? They're breaking up their homes, talking about, I don't need a man. I can raise a kid all by myself. Well, look at your kids. Your kids are the YNs that were in North Myrtle, not North Myrtle Beach. It was North Charleston. Those YNs and the young women that were accompanying them with the billy club or a sphere beating on a police officer. So is this what we're supposed to celebrate? Right? The ones who have completely done away with submitting themselves under authority, but would rather kill one another, or worse, our young girls would rather listen to Young Miami and scam men for money as a living. Like that's a career choice. That is an aspiration. This is what we're dealing with here. So I know this commentary was spicy and it was meant to be. But I do this kind of content to demonstrate how the issue here is not Democrats ignoring our humanity. First of all, you don't even look to a political party to affirm your humanity, right? We already know God didn't leave us in the dark. He said, so God created them, man. He created us in his image. In the image of God, he created him, male and female. He created them. We have Genesis affirming our humanity. We don't need the Democratic Party for that at all. And she wants you to believe that. But that verse in Genesis, it destroys both all of the racial inferiority and the gender ideology. And so Black people, we don't need Democrats to grant us humanity. We already have humanity because we are made in the image of God. You should be looking to the God of the Bible to tell you who you are. The reason why we are here where we are now, because we have hearkened to the voice of the serpent who told you you were naked. Men cannot become women because God made mankind male and female. So if you're looking to the Democratic Party to affirm your humanity, that's what you're going to walk away with, confusion. You're going to walk away confused because they would have you to believe that because we are saying God has a standard and he made them male and female, that denies the humanity of the person that identifies as LGBTQ or a person that identifies as transgender. No, the standard is still the same. God made mankind, male and female, in his image. We don't need a party to affirm their humanity, and us affirming the truth about what God has said about humanity is not stripping those groups of their humanity. That is the play on words that I want you to notice. I also want to remind you that according to Democrats, they believe that they co-parent, right? That you share custody of your children with them. But I am here to tell you, children are not raw material for the state. This is why they want that free child care. From the moment that baby hits the world at 6 weeks, they're like, no. We'll give you free child care. Not thinking, wait a minute. If I allow you to provide child care for my child at 6 weeks, what are you imparting into that child? And why you want them so young in the first place? Notice how Democrats never talk about what can we do to encourage families, like to encourage men and women to get married and to have more babies. And what can we do to encourage those women to stay with those babies as long as possible. They never come up with a policy or a program that promotes that. It's because that ain't what they want. They want your children to be wards of the state, to where they can trans them without your knowledge, your participation, or your permission. They want them as clean slates. That's why I said raw material, so that they can impart to them the worldview that they believe they're supposed to have, without acknowledging that children are entrusted to parents because that is our God-given right. Government is not God. Government can't save you. It can't sanctify you. It can't father you and parent you like a mother or a father would. And it has no redeeming qualities. And so my overarching message in covering this clip of Jasmine Crockett was to let you know we don't need to be seen by Democrats, okay? On top of that, I mean, like I said, look how she grants white people diversity of thought, right? Like, white people, according to her, you can walk into a room full of them and you don't know what you're walking into. So they get granted diversity of thought. They don't have to ensure or they don't have to experience the vitriol. Now, I'm not saying they don't. They do, but it's different. If you are black, and because normally if you walk into a room of blacks, it's true, they do assume that you a liberal and that you a team Democrat. And Lord forbid, I will never forget, I took my son this past voting in the primary. And when we asked for those, they was excited, like, oh, you brought your son, it's your first time voting. And they rang a little bell and they cheered him on. Honey, the whole mood in that polling place changed when I and my son asked for that Republican ballot. They were like, are, and now I'm trying to let him handle this on his own. He's 18, but this was his first time. I just wanted to make sure that, you know, he understood what he was doing. And we had talked about it ahead of time. I'm like, you know what kind of ballot you're going to ask for. And I was like, you be confident. Because I said, they going to try to shame you. They're going to assume that you want a Democrat ballot. So I said, son, make sure you check to make sure they give you the right ballot. So I asked for mine. And I don't care. I'll look at them like, and I'll be loud with it. A Republican, please. You know, you just wave and stuff. I be taunting them. I do. I'm petty. Whatever. The Lord's working on me. It's a sanctification issue. We'll get there. But when my son asked for that Republican ballot, them claps immediately were like, oh, they didn't know what to do with that. So notice how Jasmine will grant white people diversity of thought, but blacks are trained to demonstrate this vitriol toward other blacks who dare to have an independent thought. If you have diversity of thought and you're like, nah, I mean, I vote my values. Like, I'm not with all of this. Yep, I don't hate America. I celebrate the 4th of July. I like George Washington. I don't care that he owned slaves. Most of them wanted to be there at Mount Vernon anyway. Like, you start talking like that, they start crashing out. I'm talking about, I've seen blacks start tweaking. And you just be like, ma'am, get a hold of yourself. It's okay. I'm still black. Like, I was black until you found that out. So now you trying to rip me of the blackness? Look, okay, fine. You can have it. It's not even that serious to me anymore, right? But I say all that to say that white people are free to have a variety of views. But if you are black, Lord have mercy. That's why I'm saying the community that wants to call the black conservative a sellout, I'm like, y'all ain't got it in you to be a black conservative. First of all, you're too weak, okay? You ain't got no backbone and you're a bunch of cowards. Because we have to constantly walk with our heads up high, confident in what we believe and why we believe it, and we have to be able to defend it. It's default position for y'all to be black and liberal. All you got to do is be lazy and like free stuff. I know that offends you. But where's the lie? If you keep voting for government dependence, what else am I supposed to think? You want free stuff. I don't want anybody to give me anything. I work. Everybody in this house works. We have a healthy doctrine of work in this family. It's all my children know. We don't do handouts. If you don't work, you don't eat. This is simple biblical principles. But Jasmine will reduce Black people to Democrat dependence. And she didn't even blink. Like, she's explaining it like she is educating you on how it works. It was amazing to see. So anyway, let's go ahead and grab some super chats. It's starting to get hot up in here. Shout out to Omar Roberts. Thank you so much for this super chat. Omar says, April, I found your channel about 3 years ago and have been hooked ever since. Thanks for always speaking the truth. God bless you and your family. Thank you so much, Brother Omar, for that hunt. Look, if you've been here about 3 years, you was with me when I was chubby, okay? So you got to be a day one. If you were here 3 years ago, y'all, I'm laughing now. But I was clearing out my desktop and my hard drive of just old files that I didn't need anymore. And I came across a video of mine that I was shooting with Henry Hollywood Morris in front of a green screen from 2024. It's from August of 2024. Y'all, when I opened up that file, I cringed. I said, oh my word. Why y'all ain't tell me I was chubby? Like, y'all just let me come on here I was so darn puffy. I'm looking at myself and I was like, wow, I was swole up there, wasn't I? And y'all still love me anyway. So I appreciate you, Brother Omar, because if you've been around for 3 years, you like, yeah, I mean, I ain't want to say nothing, but you know what I'm saying? Like, the thickums. I was, y'all. I looked at that video today and I sent it to my kids in a group chat and they were like, well, Mom, you weren't fat. You're just smaller than you were then. I'm like, okay, why can't you just say it? If you love me, tell me the truth. And so finally my daughter Hannah was like, okay, you was fat. I was like, yo, she ain't got no chill. It's okay. I'm not offended though. I'm not offended because I see it. I know you're just like, how is it that you didn't see it? It crept up on me, y'all. I've been little my whole life, but it was something about them 40s. Like when I entered into the 40s are so disrespectful. You may have been a teeny weeny person your whole life and you hit 40, then all of a sudden it was a struggle. And I had to take control. Like, you're not gonna win. Okay, you're not gonna win. You ain't taking me out. And I am still on I'm calling it my glow up journey, and it includes lots of diet and lifestyle choices. It's a whole lot going in. It's high maintenance. I didn't even think it was gonna be this hard, but it is. But I appreciate you for sticking around. You've been around for 3 years. You have seen the transformation. Y'all, that old content, Shorty's face was like, I was swole up. Okay, I ain't even mad if you be like, yeah, you was swole. I know it. I got eyes. I can see, okay? I had back problems. It was crazy. Shout out to you, Michael Armstrong. I was about to say Michael Armstrong. Thank you so much for your super chat. Michael says, thank you for pointing out the foolishness. Look, you guarantee it. I'm going to point out the wrongshousness is what I do. Thank you so much for supporting the live stream tonight. I am so grateful to each and every one of you who show up. And I understand it's not easy giving a super chat because it's all these steps and you're like, am I doing it right? And, you can inadvertently give too much or so many things that can happen. But the fact that you take the time to do it, I greatly appreciate it. We got Black Pearl. Our Black Pearl says, I am so grateful to God that many of us Black women with common sense are speaking the truth publicly. I'm a proud Black conservative. Amen, girl. More than that, I'm blessed to be a Christian in America. The conservative values, what I try to tell people, flow from my Christian worldview. So because I believe the Bible, I am compelled by biblical conviction to be a conservative. I don't know what else you want from me. I mean, I can't be a conservative Democrat. Like, that's an oxymoron. It doesn't even go together. And I never want people to walk away from this platform thinking that I am pushing the Republican Party. Look, okay, look, the Republicans got issues. I think they are playing in the sandbox way too close with some of these log cabin Republicans. Those are the homosexuals that claim to be conservative. I don't even know how that works. So because of that, I am never telling someone to be a Republican. What I am trying to exhort people is to first be a Christian and to understand that the conservative values that we hold to have a biblical framework, and there's an epistemology behind what we believe that is so much deeper than politics. It comes from the scriptures. And if you can identify with that, it makes it so much easier for you to decide, okay, how am I going to cast a ballot, and how am I going to be found faithful, exercising not just my Christian liberty, but my civic duty as an American citizen. You can balance and harmonize that and do it in a God-honoring way, but I don't see how you can do that voting for a Democrat. I just don't see it. Another super chat here. Greg Kelly, shout out to you. Thank you so much for your super chat. Says you are a true, intelligent Black queen. Oh, thank you. Thank you for being an inspiration to young Black women all over. Let's go. Thank you. Normally I resist the title of queen because look, I don't have a kingdom. I don't have any subjects, but I do understand what you mean when you use that term. And it is a term of endearment, and it is so flattering. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Normally when I'm talking about Black queens, it's queen with a K. I've seen too many of us think just more highly of ourselves than we ought. And it's like, come on, sis, girl, you ain't no queen. Like, you out here in your eyeballs full of debt. Okay, cut it out. Just stop it. Like, we just got to see ourselves rightly, if you know what I mean. I would like to see that, but thank you for the compliment nonetheless. So, all right, you guys. The next thing, the other topic that I wanted to cover, I'm kind of up in the air about it. I don't know. Marshall, who has been a faithful supporter. I think he's a moderator too. I'm gonna grab this other super chat. I see Crimson's super chat. I wanted to cover because every now and again, y'all, I love doing a quick theological deep dive to shut some of the foolishness down. So I'm thinking about I was thinking about covering this Noel Jones clip that Marshall just sent me, but I'm looking at the time. It's already 9:44, and I'm gonna get too deep into it, and it's just gonna. I got Newsmax in the morning. I'm not gonna be able to do it. But let me grab this super chat. Oh, Crimson, I love your hair. I love a bob. Her bob is bobbing, y'all. She said, greetings and salutations to my beautiful sister in the gospel. Much love and support to you and your family. Continue the boldness and courage. Thank you so much, Crimson. I really appreciate that. Y'all, I want to highlight and celebrate so many women. There are a lot of us normals out here, but the Jasmine Crockett's and the Arachatangs are just really loud, and they're the ones that get elevated the most. And so when I see, beautiful, either Black sisters or white sisters, because the white liberals, they got their little blue hair feminists that you would think that all white women are like that. I want to celebrate just normal women, right? Like those of us, like, we don't want to go out in a bonnet, right? We don't want to wear slippers as if it is footwear for the out. We're raising and training our children. We're just regular people. Like, I want to celebrate that. Because the left messaging and the types of imagery that is being promoted, they want you to believe that that's all that's out there. So they want Jasmine Crockett to be the archetype of what a Black woman is supposed to be, right? They want her and the young Miamis, and that is supposed to be your examples to model. Well, I want to start a movement that says, no, we are not that. Okay. We actually, many of us are married or desire to be married. We want to raise normal children that don't participate in teen takeovers, right? We obey the law. We love God. We love his word. We work, whether we work at home or outside of the home, we work up unto the Lord. And we just want to be good stewards of what the Lord has given us. And we need to change our ethnic image because it's bad, you guys. It is really bad out here. This is why I spend a lot of time making sure that when I show up for you guys on a live stream, that I'm just looking my best. Now, some days, I'm a little bit more snazzy than others, but it's on purpose. I understand that we need a movement of showing women something different. That we don't all want to twerk. We don't all want to be scammers and sleep with men to take their money. We're other. And it's okay if we're in the minority, but we need to celebrate one another and demonstrate to the world that we are not all like that. And so that's why I'm gonna wear a dress. I'm gonna be cute on camera, if for nobody else other than the people that live in this house. But it sends another message, and it starts a new narrative. And I want to encourage us to do more of the same. Even something as simple as, you're like, oh, I got to run to the grocery store. Just put on a little lip gloss, a little bit of mascara, take the scarf off. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, if you try it, you will be amazed how people will treat you. It's almost like they're seeing an angelic being because they don't see it often. So you go to the grocery store and you just made a little effort, just a little effort. You'll be surprised at the people that say, you look so nice today. What a lovely dress that you're wearing. Oh, you look beautiful. And eventually, it'll help you to realize that, okay, this does matter. And I am contributing to the ethnic image that's out in the culture in a positive way. Like, it's easy for me to talk trash on the internet because, look, okay, I love talking trash. Okay, I do. I love making fun of the foolishness that's out here in the culture. But how I counteract that is be the change that I want to see. So yes, when I go, whether I'm going to the TJ Maxx or Costco, this Costco is like one of my favorite places. I always make sure that I represent my family well, that I am a living reflection of someone that believes the gospel, and that I just want to be a good visual example for all of the other women who right now are struggling to just, I don't know, put some clothes on and to demonstrate that we are worth more than what's underneath the clothes. And I just want to encourage other women to do the same. Start with something small. Lip gloss and mascara. Then you can elevate and say, okay, I'm gonna put on a nice little outfit today and then do I mean, you ain't got to be all extra with it, but go the extra mile. It goes a long way. So many of the women of yesteryear, I think about my grandmother who didn't have a lot of money. She lived in the projects, but whether my grandmother was going to the grocery store, well, back then they had like the meat market and then they had the vegetable stand, or she was going to the podiatrist or the eye doctor, grandma always had on her dress, her white gloves, her little purse, a cute little heel. Sometimes she'd wear a hat, sometimes not. And we just have pictures of this little not old lady, but this little woman who was just a reflection of grace and beauty. And then my mother followed in her footsteps. It was the same exact way. It's all I know. My mother was the queen of fly before fly was a word. She just always, she never left the house looking like who done it and why. And I remember when I was younger, I'd be like, Mom, oh gosh, we're just going to the grocery store. Just put on something. And she would look at me like, you don't know who I might run into at the store. And I'm like, other people that are shopping. And she's like, exactly. And I'm like, okay, so why? She was just like, you don't leave the house looking any old kind of way. First of all, she would always say you could get into a car accident and they rush you to the hospital, and I don't know if this is appropriate, but my mother used to talk about, and if they see your underwear and your, your underwear is dirty, and she was just talking about stuff that I was like, how did we get here? How did we get from going to the store to being in a car accident to somebody seeing your drawers and your socks and your undergarments? Like, she just had a whole little narrative that went along with it. And by the time she was done, I was like, okay, fine, just whatever. I didn't get it then, but I get it now. I get it now. And mama, it makes so much sense. And even though my mother suffers from dementia, and she probably doesn't remember how I used to always be like, why are you doing the most to go to the grocery store? Mama, I get it now. I get it now. And you do not have to worry, because I don't leave the house looking like who done it and why anymore. So, all right, you guys, I have an announcement I want to make. I want to, well, first, let me get this super chat. Hey, girl. You guys, shout out to Karen Whitsett. Y'all, Karen has a new podcast that's either out or coming out, and I'm so proud of her. Okay, I'm going to put you on blast, Karen. You guys, Karen is an outgoing Michigan House representative who took a bold stand for Christ and was like, I can't mess with you Diddycrats no more. She was like, I'm done. I can't do it. I can't be a Christian and be a Democrat, and I sure can't hold office under this party anymore. And she has an amazing story, an amazing testimony. And her and I have gotten to get to know one another, and we kiki on the phone, and it's just a beautiful budding friendship that I'm very, very grateful for. But I need to call you. I know you called me the other day, and I can't remember what I was doing. I was doing something, then I forgot. Forgive me. But her podcast is coming out, and I want you guys to support it, because Karen is a straight shooter. She's gonna tell it like it is. And she's got experience on the inside as a House Democrat, and the stuff that she's going to uncover and affirm what I've been saying, she's got the receipts. She has the receipts. So, Karen, if you have a link to the channel, go ahead and drop it. If not, text me, and on my next live stream, I will push it out to my community, because I want you guys to go and subscribe and support, because she is on the side of righteousness now, and we want to support our sister in the Lord as the Lord uses her and stretches her and just enlarges her influence now that she is her term is up, I think, in January. Or is it November? Girl, I don't forgot. Don't give me the line. I don't know. But anyway, here's the announcement that I wanted to make. So as you guys know, yay, right? Slavery is a choice. It is my documentary that I am co-producing alongside of Vince Everett Ellison. If you are not familiar with who he is, you are missing out. He happens to be a member of the Standard House Media Squad. We produce his podcast, and we are responsible for the Vince Everett Ellison brand. And we've been doing that. When did we start managing Vince? I want to say late 2024, all of 2025. So we're in our second year of working together. And the synergy and the creative collaboration that has come from our friendship and him just being a part of this family is going to be a blessing to the world. So we've partnered together, and we've got this film called Slavery is a Choice. And we decided to crowdfund it. And you guys, I need to show y'all this. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we started crowdfunding, and we had a very modest goal of $30,000. And you guys have been so amazing. we are 65% we've met 65% of our goal. We are at 19,807 as of the date of this broadcast. And it is because viewers like you, supporters of Vince's show, who have seen the work that we've put in, you watch our content. You may not always agree, but you say, them black folks show are crazy and they are courageous. Okay, now we are crazy. We are. But we're crazy for the truth. And we love our people enough to where we are willing to risk it all, put our reputations on the line in order to produce a documentary with one of the most inflammatory titles that you've probably ever heard of when it comes to documentaries, like Slavery is a Choice. Like who would say that, right? We would say that. The Lord knew who he was connecting together, and the Lord knew that Vince needed somebody just as crazy as him to partner on this film. And so we are set to release this film in late August. It might be early Labor Day-ish, but by God's grace, we're on schedule. I just, you just get a feeling like, I don't know. I think it's going to be more like Labor Day, but we're going to stay late August for now. But we're crowdfunding this campaign. We have filmed in Lynchburg, in Memphis, we've had to film in several different cities. We've added another person. We wanted a theological perspective on this topic from Virgil Walker. And so we're going to be shooting that later this month. But it is an amazing film that we are removing every excuse. We are ripping the Band-Aid off. You may not like the title. You may not even understand where are these black people going with this title to say that slavery is a choice. I can guarantee you, after you watch this film, you'll be like, you know what? I was real resistant and I felt some sort of kind of way that they said that. But now that I've seen this film, where's the lie? Like, they're not lying. The argument cannot be broken. I'm so confident when I tell you the argument can't be broken. I'm not just blowing smoke and just saying that to be saying it. I'm saying it because I am as sure and as confident as I've ever been. Even the more and more we work on this film, and Vince and I collaborate and we talk it through, I become more and more convinced, as if I wasn't convinced already. Now, I didn't start out convinced of this, and that's the beauty of the film. It kind of charts my evolution of how I first felt when I heard the saying or the sentiment that slavery is a choice. But now that I'm on this side of the argument, my goal is to convince you, the audience. And so it's going to be a masterpiece of a film. All that I ask is if you feel led to contribute to the project. The link is in the description of this video. So I put a link to the Democrat Party's policy platform. I sent the link to that PDF. And then below that link, you should see where you can go to support Slavery as a Choice. But what you can also do, let me just move this because this is annoying. You can just scan the QR code down at the bottom of the screen, and it'll take you straight to the donation page, and you can give there. We're grateful for any amount, but so much of this film has been funded by individuals. I mean, you guys have dug deep. We've gotten $1,000, $500, $250. Like, people are just making it rain. And I believe they're doing that because they believe in the work that we're doing, and they know that it is going to impact the next generation. Because we can't move forward and heal and forgive, especially if you're a Christian, if we don't grapple with some very difficult truths. We're going to have to hold up a mirror and remember the movie Bird Box when they didn't want to open their eyes to see. We're going to open your eyes, or we're going to be holding them bad boys up, with toothpicks. You are going to see this truth. And I'm so grateful. It's going to be an amazing film. So I want to make sure that I tell you guys about that. Let me see. I think Karen sent me a text. Let's see what happened. Oh, I love you too, Pumpkin. Oh, Sugar Bear. It's okay. Okay. She is this it? Let me see. Is this it? No. Okay. She'll send it. No. I love you too, girly. I really do. Like I said, I'm so grateful for you and what God is doing through you. And I want to make sure that I let the audience know about the podcast. So, slave is a choice. Don't forget to support. Use your little phone and do the little scanning thing and all the things. And I wanted to do another topic, but I think I'll save that for tomorrow. But I have a treat for you guys tomorrow. Okay, I was gonna release it today, but I saved it for tomorrow. Did I? Maybe I didn't. I'm lying. I was gonna save that video on Is Jesus Black for tomorrow, but if I'm not mistaken, I got too much going on. I think I released that earlier today. Didn't I release that? I sure did. Okay, so I want you guys to go. I dropped 2 videos today in addition to this live stream. So if you missed it, you need to go and watch that video that I dropped earlier today. I did a reaction to my girl, Keisha King. Keisha King had a Black Hebrew Israelite drop into her live chat and ask her if she believed that Jesus was Black, and if so, like, what does she think about that? And he came from, what should I say? The assertion was Jesus is Black based off of Revelation chapter 1, verse, verse 12, where he starts talking about his hair was white like wool, white like snow. He was like, see, wool is hair. What a wool is hair, and his hair was woolly, so therefore Jesus was Black. And bless him heart. Oh, bless his heart. I'm laughing. I'm sorry. I wanted to engage with that because I've heard that argument before. And unfortunately, it is juvenile argumentation, and it struggles to deal with the grammar, just basic grammar in the sentence. And the sad part about it is, as much as the word of God, it's authoritative and it is inspired and it is inerrant, it does require you to have an understanding of grammar. Like, even in English, let's say you don't speak Greek, right? Fine. You don't speak Hebrew, you don't speak Aramaic. You do need to understand English. If that's your primary language, just words and how they relate to one another, that's super important. So when you talk about his hair is white like wool and white like snow, you got to learn how to diagram your sentences, pimping, okay? The white refers to something. There's an object there, and the snow refers, like the wool and the white and the snow, it all refers to something, and it wasn't Jesus's ethnicity. But anyway, y'all need to go watch that video. It is a good video. Did I link to Keisha's video? I don't know. Go to her channel and check it out. It's there, but it was funny. Oh, Lord, it was funny. She was being very gracious, but she started to get impatient because she was like, what part of the grammar here do you just not understand? Like, you just want Jesus to be Black so bad that you are willing to ignore all of this just to die on this hill. And she basically pointed out how it's just idolatry. Like, how do you boast in your flesh when we're supposed to boast in the Lord? Like, Jesus being Black don't make you special. Not that he is, but even if he was, what's that got to do with you? Nothing. But it's ethnic narcissism is another term that I like to call it, where you just see the Blackness all in everything. And the sad part about it is, just like the Pharisees, you gonna die in your sins, okay? You gonna die in your sins. You gonna repent from that foolishness. But anyway, yeah, I dropped that today, and I dropped the video on the North Charleston teens attacking that female officer. Go back and watch that. They're both short. One's 23 minutes and one's 28 minutes. So I love you guys with the love of the Lord. And until next time, you guys, stand firm, stay bold, and above all else, stay unshakable. Grace and peace. I'm April Chapman.
And I'm Vince Everett Ellison. There's a victim narrative here in the United States of America that says you have no control over your lives, no control over your agency. And they're basically saying that you're an animal, that you're a slave. I don't believe that. I don't think it's ever been the case. As an heir of Jesus Christ and as a child of God, I cannot be oppressed. I cannot be a victim. I do not think I am, nor do I think that any American ever has been, or any person. Even when it comes to slavery, I believe, and I think they hold true, that slavery was a choice. You know how I know? Because people are choosing to be slaves now. So I'm making a documentary to debunk the myth that any human being or any American is held under bondage without their permission, even if they have to kill or give their lives to be free. Freedom is a choice, and slavery is a choice also.
We're asking you to partner with us. We are here. We have begun filming Slavery is a Choice, and it's an incredible documentary that outlines Vince's argument to prove to the world that slavery is absolutely a choice. I've partnered with him in the executive producer position, and we are appealing to our audience, you guys, those who watch us faithfully every single week, to help us bring this film to market. We've begun a crowdfunding campaign, and we're going to link the opportunity in the description below for you to partner with us and give any amount to help us bring this project to market. Slavery is absolutely a choice, and we know that slavery is a choice because we're choosing it today with many of the decisions that we continue to make to our own detriment. So we're hoping that you guys will partner with us, and we want to bring this film to market in summer of 2026. So click the link down below, and I'm April Chapman.
And I'm Mr. Everett Ellison. Freedom is a choice, but in order to be free, you must be brave. In order to not be a slave, you must believe in Jesus Christ. So believe in freedom, believe in courage, be courageous, assist us in this project, and let's set and make other people free by being true blue Americans, true blue patriots, true blue Christians, believing in ourselves and believing in the future. Thank you.